Now to the tensions in the Sea of Azov between the Russian Navy and Ukrainian gunboats have made us wonder why it is that throughout history these types of skirmishes have been used as, well, pretenses, right, for even more aggression. Those of you who are old enough or smart enough to know history will remember the Lusitania. Had it not been sunk, the tide would not have turned against Germany in World War I. The U.S. would not have gotten into the war. Why? Because 128 of the passengers on the Lusitania were Americans. So did the British possibly have something to do with sinking their own ship to get that desired result? That question's all over the place, including on the Googles even today, as they say. Now, remember the Maine? Same thing. American battleship. The Maine mysteriously blows up one day in Havana Harbor. After that, selling the American people on the Spanish-American War became as easy as pie. So it is outlandish to imagine incidents at sea being orchestrated to achieve a desired result, or is it? We've put together a comparative piece that we're going to share with you in just a minute because of what happened between Ukraine and Russia. But first, I want to share with you this. It's an interview we've got this afternoon. It's Russian President Vladimir Putin. He's suggesting his Navy was indeed purposely provoked.
It's clearly a provocation organized by the authorities, and I think Poroshenko himself, ahead of the presidential election scheduled in Ukraine for March of next year.
Of course, the Ukrainians say it was not a provocation. The government, that is, not necessarily the men who were on board, if you're to believe them. Okay, we mentioned the Lusitania, we mentioned the Maine, but to most Americans still living, there's one case that rules supreme as the example, the quintessential example of a government bamboozling its own people in order to achieve a desired effect. In this case, we must say, remember the Tonkin, the Gulf of Tonkin. That's right. Here's RT's Alex Mihailovich with a look back.
A confrontation in the Sea of Azov. While the West is quick to blame Russia,
Russia decided to prevent passage of the Ukrainian ships, rammed them, and then opened fire on them.
Evidence is mounting that the maritime incident is a political move by Ukraine's president, Petro Poroshenko. The motive? Raise tensions with Russia just before the G20 summit, invoke martial law, and with your popularity at a low, cancel Ukraine elections in 2019. All this using Ukrainian naval vessels as pawns.
It was a counterintelligence mission. It was not a commercial ship. So Russia naturally would view that with suspicion. And I mean, what is particularly suspicious is the fact that Poroshenko immediately, declared martial law, and there's talk about abrogating the election in March, which the polls show that he's losing. So this would give the indication that this is very politicized.
Looking back at not too distant history, Ukraine's moves were taken right out of the American playbook. According to the U.S. government, in August 1964, the USS Maddox was carrying out a mission in international waters near Vietnam. The destroyer was attacked by North Vietnamese forces. The Maddox, which fought back, then returned with another ship and was once again attacked by the North Vietnamese. This, the U.S. government's version of the story, was not questioned by the media, allowing Congress to pass the Gulf of Tonkin resolution, which opened the gates to escalate America's war in Vietnam. Today, it's widely believed the story was distorted. In fact, the destroyer was in North Vietnamese waters when its captain realized it was being followed by 3 North Vietnamese torpedo boats. USS Maddox fired warning shots before being attacked by the enemy boats. The Maddox retaliated with the help of U.S. air power, hitting all 3 targets and killing 4 North Vietnamese soldiers. The U.S. destroyer then retreated into international waters before returning to the Gulf of Tonkin 2 days later, accompanied by another U.S. vessel. This is where things fall apart. The Maddox once again reported it was being attacked, but this time the message was taken back by the captain. Captain John J. Herrick indicated that bad weather was to blame for the initial assessment, leading to this message. No actual visual sightings by Maddox. Suggest complete evaluation before any further action taken. This communique from the captain was ignored by President Johnson, and the go-ahead was given to expand the war. President Johnson called the so-called attack on 2 American warships deliberate aggression. A year later, 200,000 American troops were on the ground in Vietnam. Just earlier this week, Nikki Haley echoed the sentiment when discussing the naval skirmish in the Sea of Azov. Haley said, "What we witnessed this weekend is yet another reckless Russian escalation." Blame placed without an investigation, which often does nothing but escalate a situation. For RT, I'm Alex Mihailovich.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.